Hello, good morning. My name is Barak Ben Dov and I would like to show you one of the exercise, the most basic exercise that I have in the Iparon method. It's an exercise to teach how to do gradient, how to go from dark to light or to light to dark, and just to feel comfortable with the concept. And I will then in a second I will show you like the full time, just me doing the exercise from the beginning till the end. And later, if you want, you can just continue stay and I will explain why I chose this part of the exercise to do this way or another. It is might be interesting for teachers, art teachers, or people who love thinking about processes, how things are being done and why they're being done that way. Or if you need to take this exercise not in drawing but to something else, what can you take from it? In the description I will add a link to the talk after the exercise, and actually also to the exercise itself if you don't want to listen to me explaining this part in the beginning. So enjoy. Every exercise that we have in the Iparon course or method is always starting with a blank sheet of paper, a paper for a printer, like the simplest paper that you can find, that you can just easily So I'm starting with the line at the base and I'm writing my name on one side and the date on the other side. What is the date today? The 23rd of April 2021. And in the middle I'm writing thank you for something. It doesn't matter even what language. And let's go for English today. Thank you for the time. And what I'm going to show you today is just a very basic, one of the basic exercises that I have. And let's start. One of my favorites. So, line, small line here, small line here, and I have rectangle. I'm cutting it somewhere in the middle, cutting in the middle, cutting in the middle. This one I will make the darkest and then lighter, lighter until it will be the lightest. I'm using 6B pencil. It also could be a different kind of pencil, but it is much easier to use softer and darker pencils because it gives a bit more range to the gradient that we will do. This exercise is called gradient. Okay, I have dark. In the camera it looks a bit shiny, but in reality it just looks dark. And then we are having less dark. Here. And let's do even less dark here. It is nice to fill it completely until the edges, but it doesn't need to be perfect. But those ones looks similar enough, so I will make this one a bit darker. And let's make this one much lighter. Okay, so we have 4, let's call this one number 1. But I see that I can see the texture of the table underneath, so I'm just taking a pile of papers and putting it here. That was the first exercise, so if you're giving this exercise to someone, just start with this one. Now I'm going for the second one. Line, 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 another rectangle. I cut it in the middle, 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 in the middle. So we have like 8 squares. Same exercise. As dark as I can. here it should be less dark. I can really feel the difference of the texture in relation to the table. This is more or less the same, so let's make this one a bit darker. Let's make this one a bit lighter. That also can be lighter. Oh, I think that went too light. So let's get this one much darker. This is a bit darker. A bit more. A bit more. A bit more. Okay, I think we have it more or less gradient. That was the second. Third. Line, 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 line. I have rectangle. Now I'm doing it without the lines in the middle. So I'm starting with the strongest, but I can also start with the lightest and see how it would be. And I just want to, without lines, go to make it lighter and lighter. Let's see, gradient enough. Let's give it another darkness here, and then just slowly make another layer. Yeah, good enough. Okay, that was that. Now we are on the fourth one. We are just making a line, but sometimes we are pushing strong and making like dark line, and sometimes very light. With just one line we are starting to feel that sometimes it's almost invisible or completely invisible because it stops touching. And it doesn't matter what shape I'm doing, just that I'm feeling comfortable with changing the pressure on the pencil. Okay, good enough. Now we're going for the fifth one. The fifth one, we are doing this kind of line, but it will close at the end. So we have like a closed shape. And after having this closed shape, where it is really dark, I'm doing dark. And when it is lighter, I'm doing lighter. And when they are combining, I have some kind of gradient. So in the end, when I will finish, I don't want to see that there is an outer line. And your shape can look completely different, like bigger, smaller. Okay, this is really delicate. But remember that if you're making a really big shape, it will take you more time. So if you like it, give it size. I personally have no patience for anything, so all of these exercises are very small and short. And also feel free to turn the paper if you think it is needed. Here I need to start making things darker, shadier. This one needs to be much shadier. Let's keep this one quite shady here, and let's make it a bit lighter towards the edge. Cool. And in less than 10 minutes you learned how to do gradients and control different resolution, shading, line, and how to combine line and shading. Welcome back. Okay, now I will show you or explain why I do what I do. I have it, my version here, but probably I will put one being here that you can see and maybe even mark things on it. So there are many layers of trying to avoid problems in creating. The first problem is that when I try or anyone might try to create something, they think, okay, I need to create art. So as a teacher, I always try to take the level as low as possible, that the entry level to create something will be very simple and easy. In this case, using simple paper. I have simple paper, like printer paper, that I can just buy 500 of those and just like waste them and without thinking. The second thing is to make a line. When I'm making a line at the bottom, I'm automatically ruining the paper and make it more as an exercise and less as an art. So already I'm helping. Then I'm writing my name. I'm putting my name before I have done anything on the paper. It means that it's not a signature like, look what I've done, but this is for the teacher to know who did what. It's very technical thing, but I already put my name on something. On the other side, I'm putting date. The date also for the teacher to later know what came before or after, and to try to later with the students to make a story of what was interesting for us, what we were looking for, because sometimes it's not clear what was first and after a while. And in the middle I'm writing thank you. It doesn't matter what language, what for. It could be for the good weather, for comfortable shoes, for the class itself, for the ability to hold pencil in the hand, for easygoing traffic. It really doesn't matter. The point is practicing saying thank you for things. If I would work with someone that has issues with this problem, that they cannot write anything and they are not grateful for anything, or they manage to write this thing and they think it's stupid, that for me would already be a great success. And in general, if an exercise gives me even like one small thing that I got a little bit better than last time, I'm fine with it. It doesn't need to completely change my mind or create something whole in the world. So if I'm just managed to say thank you a bit easier, already done my job, even if the next exercise is not very helpful. Now let's go to the exercise itself. Every time that I'm building an exercise, I'm like explaining this line, making a square. I'm explaining what I'm doing also for myself, that when the student later will start making their own exercises, they will also verbal what they are doing, how they build it, that they could explain to someone, imagining that they need to explain almost by phone what they are doing. There would be a chance they can do that, because then it like really settles down and give a good foundation of building exercises. So the first one, number one, is really simple. I'm making a rectangle, I'm cutting it in half, easy, another half and a half, easy and easy, and then I'm making it darker or lighter as I choose. I decided to go lighter. I see that it is easy, but not so easy. It requires some concentration. But also something that is, I found very important, here you can you can see it, but you don't feel it as strongly. I'm always trying to take the emotional part from the creation. I wouldn't ask someone to draw their hand, their face, their house, or something that they tried to draw 100 million times before and just didn't manage. So I'm trying to clean, to give some space to practice practical ways of absorbing and thinking. In this exercise, it seems simple. Yeah, there is shading. Why? But if you're thinking of the fifth shape, it could have been something, but I decided no, we are just like enjoying the shapeness. Let's go back to the first one. So we did the first one. It is not very big. The point is that the exercise should be very quick. Every time that I'm giving an exercise, it's not just for practicing, it is also for me as a teacher to check what are the student is dealing with right now. If I would see that it takes them like half an hour to do the dark area, I'm saying, okay, they are perfectionists, it takes so much time for them, I will find a set of exercises that will work on that issue, that they're finding it hard to continue and sometimes hard to finish the task because they are so much in the first phase of it. So every time the student does something, I'm looking what might be the next move. And there is a few possible moves and always a few new moves that I haven't figured out yet. First one, finished. We are going to the second one. I'm starting with explanation of exactly the same way. Square, not square, rectangle, in the middle, 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 in the middle. The point is to show how I'm getting into more elaborate, in a better resolution exercises, how the second exercise was built on the foundation of the first one, and give the sense of whenever I'm having a problem of doing something, I'm going very basic and slowly building up from there. All of my exercises are built that way, and just to train the body and the soul to think in this way for things that are not drawing, or drawing, why not? And then doing shading again. But now I see that I require a bit more ability to go with the gradient. Also, it's another opportunity to see what the students are doing. Are they having easier time with the dark, with the light, in the middle? They can also see what is the capabilities of the pencil, because if they will use, for example, 2B and not 6B, not 2H, I think, so they might have some darkness and very light, but the middle ones are more or less the same. So it will be a good exercise to understand what are the capabilities of the tools that they are choosing to work with. Everything that is happening in the class is open for discussion. It's not that we are talking about everything, but while doing it, I can understand, this is why this tool is better than that tool for this specific assignment. Okay, let's continue. Again, I'm starting with rectangle, and then in a way, I'm doing a shift. I'm no longer cutting in the middle, and then by the student, it's like, okay, are we going forward, backward? What is like? It's always like going on routes and finding different ways to do things. And now I'm doing it gradient. My hand is already practiced in doing the gradient itself. Now I need to smooth it. So it takes a while, but I can smooth it. And that is actually quite fun exercise. Next one, the 4-1. What I managed to do is going like very dark, very light, and feel the pressure on my hand, because in the last exercise I feel the power, but I don't put emphasis of the changing in my hand while I'm changing from one situation to another situation. If you think of it in a way of thinking, at what point while I'm thinking, I'm using from one scheme of thinking to another scheme of thinking, and my intensity. So doing the number 4 exercise, practice the way of shifting between intensities. You can do it much longer, and actually every student page looks different because they're doing different line, different shapes. It's kind of nice. As a teacher, I'm interested. And now we are going to the fifth shape. We are doing like the 4. Actually, have you seen, I put numbers for everything that it will be easy for me to talk. And also the papers that I'm choosing are very easy to put in a folder. So if in a folder or in a folio, and then to give at the end of the class, the whole point of it that it will be easy to transport. And I'm also using just pencils because it's not messy and it's easy to carry. The whole point, make it simple as possible, because we don't care for the drawing itself, although sometimes it's beautiful, but it's like, who cares? Life is beautiful. So we are coming to the 5th shape, and I'm using the 4 line, and now I'm using the third stripe to start doing shading. And this is the first place that I need to make decisions, that I feel that there is emphasis of decisions. Where do I want to go from dark to light? And I'm starting to feel my ability to make decisions. And that is nice, because a lot of the time when people didn't even thought they can do shading, they are starting with number 1, and when they get to number 5, they have like some blob that have materialness in it. And that is very rewarding. Also, at the end of the exercise, every student can show something that they did, and they can, depends on their level of the ability to explain, they can explain themselves and explain others what happened. And to that, I'm trying that my exercises by practical explanation, that at least most of them would be easy enough that a 10-year-old can explain to a 6-year-old how to do. If I would teach a 10-year-old and then they will go home and they want to teach to their siblings, then they would have easy time doing that. They just need a pencil, paper, like a bit of time, and say like, okay, first we're doing squares. And I think this is the majority of what I had to say about this exercise. If you have any questions, send me, ask me. I always like to answer. I always like to think of things because it broadens my mind, and I see myself as a teacher, so I'm always learning new ways to teach. Even if you see this video in like 20 years, send me a message. I'm interested to see what goes. If you are taking this exercise and using it, feel free to find me and send me a copy of what you did, or if you worked with children, what did they do, or any other person, like just, I'm interested. You can find a bit more information in my website. It is in the description. I probably will put a link, or at least written a link on the video itself. And don't know, let's have fun. Life is quite beautiful.